So yeah, everybody's been making videos surrounding the Palworld controversy, and I guess as a Pokemon fan since 2001, um, I want to throw my take in the ring and give my 2 cents to the whole topic. But this topic this requires less than a minute to really discuss because at the end of the day, all you need to do is ask yourself one single question, and that is, has Nintendo or the Pokemon Company sued the developers of Palworld thus far? Or will they in the future? And the obvious answer is no, no, they haven't. Um, so think about that for a moment, dear Pokemon fans. What exactly do you understand about the situation better than the company who, in the video game space, is literally the end boss when it comes to writing cease and desist letters and sending their armada of copyright lawyers onto any passionate fan game within 10 minutes of it being released and destroying it and crushing it and sending it straight to the Shadow Realm, never to see the face of the earth again. And they've been aware of Palworld. I mean, when had they released first trailers? 2020, 2021? They've had years to look at this game. And have they sued? No. No, they haven't. Did they sue Temtem? No, they didn't either. I mean, I don't understand why Temtem didn't have the exact same discussion we're having now. Maybe because, I don't know, sensationalism on social media keeps ramping up as the years progress, but like, this is really about toxic Pokemon fans and what they don't understand about copyright law. Now, look, even though a lot of Pokemon fans are socially awkward children or socially awkward man children on the internet, um, I don't expect any of them to really understand copyright law or any normal person to understand copyright law because copyright law is pretty fucking boring. Um, I had it a couple weeks during university, and oh god, kill me! It's just so boring. But I'm gonna give you some basic stuff that I hopefully can remember from my time in university. Like, this video has no script again. I'm just waffling. But I think the best way we can analyze Palworld is by looking three staples, which are patents, trademarks, and copyright. So first of all, what do these three things even mean? I hope I'll remember what I learned in university. I'll obviously put some definitions on the green screen in the background. But yeah, let's get to it. A patent. A patent sort of is the concept or process of owning an original idea, coming up with an original idea or an invention, or innovating on an existing idea or process to such a degree that it can be considered a new way, a new thing, a new way of doing things. So, you can't patent the idea of walking or breathing because, yes, I mean, that's a general thing, and also it's pretty hard to say no one's ever thought of that. But if you can come up with, let's say, a device that lets you breathe underwater, then you have, first of all, come up with an original invention, and also sort of a process of breathing in a new environment. So you can definitely file a patent for something like that. And then, I mean, you have to fill out a couple documents, you have to pay some money, there's some bureaucracy involved. There's a lot of testing if what you're providing is actually something that's never been seen before. But if that's the case, boom, patent approved, you own that idea, you own that concept, you own that invention, and only you can do whatever you want with it, right? So, do patents apply to the Palworld Pokemon situation? Well, Pokemon does not own the concept of monster hunting games, not even remotely, despite what some Pokemon fans might think. No, Pokemon is not the only entity or the first entity to come up with this. Games like Shin Megami Tensei and Dragon Quest have done this stuff a decade before the first Pokemon game has even released, so we can throw patents out entirely when it comes to this debate. So next up are trademarks. We often don't really think about the etymology or the origin of words, like a noun. We're just like, oh, that's something that means something. We don't even think about it. So when our university professor explained this to us, that was sort of like a eureka moment where it's like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. So basically, a trademark is the mark of your trade, meaning it is something, a mark, by which you can definitely identify that company and only that company. So it is like the logo of a football club or the logo of a car manufacturer. It is definitely identifiable and distinguishable only to your brand alone. And in terms of Pokemon, well, I'm not sure. I don't know for certain. Like, this is the problem when I don't do research on these topics. But I mean, I guess you'll only get my knowledge and nothing else. I'll look it up, but I'm pretty sure Pokemon has trademarked, well, I'm pretty sure the word Pokemon is trademarked. And anything that has to do with derivatives of the word Pokemon, I don't know, Pokeballs, Pokemon centers, stuff like that. They've definitely trademarked Pikachu, I'd be willing to wager, because that disgusting little corporate rat is synonymous with the Pokemon brand completely. And by extension, they've also trademarked other popular Pokemon, probably like Charizard or something like that.
Yay, all right. Whoa, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Do you do any tricks?
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
So in terms of trademarks, is Palworld infringing on Pokemon's trademark? Well, no. There are no Pokemon in Palworld. It's not called Pokemon. They're called Pals. There are no Pokeballs. They're called Pal Spheres. Yeah, there's no Charizard. There's no Pikachu. There are no Pokemon names of any sort. And yeah, I know that people will be pissed about this because it's like, oh my god, a Pal Sphere is basically just a Pokeball. And it's just like, well, yeah, no shit, bro. It's obvious that it's inspired by that. It's obvious that it's the same concept. But this is about, like, copyright law and trademark law and all of that stuff. And if you can make a legal case out of this, and these concepts, they are protected under these laws, but only if someone else takes them exactly and then commercializes them and makes a copy out of them. And Palworld isn't doing that. They're just taking the concept and they've distinguished it into their own thing, their own design and their own way of doing things. So yeah, trademarks are completely out of the question here, which only leaves copyright law. Copyright is another one of those interesting words where you can look at it objectively and you're like, well, what does this even mean? Similar to trademark, it's like, well, copyright means the right to make a copy of something. So basically, if you have something copyrighted, like Pokemon has pretty much all of their Pokemon designs and the names of the Pokemon, what that basically means is if you want to make a copy of Charmander and print it on a backpack and then sell that backpack in the hundreds in some sweatshop in Thailand, they are gonna come for your ass, and rightfully so. You cannot infringe on their copyright. They've copyrighted this. And this is really where most of the discussion takes place and where most of the controversy stems from, because a lot of people have gone on Twitter and said, well, they are infringing on copyright because some of the Palworld designs are just complete asset rips from Pokemon designs. And this is where it gets really, really complicated. And I'm not a copyright lawyer, and I don't want to talk about this for too long because I don't have the expertise about this, and neither do any of these idiots on Twitter, but they all wanted to share their opinion about it as if it were a fact anyways. So I'm gonna do the same. I think the basic premise we can all agree on when it comes to copyright and the base level understanding we all have of copyright, because you know, we're not copyright lawyers. We're people on the internet. We haven't studied this shit. We shouldn't be talking with such confidence about this. But the base level of understanding we all have about copyright is that you can't just take an existing design and redistribute it and be like, this is mine now. That doesn't work. You have to have something that is original. But what is originality even? This is where it gets super subjective and where copyright law has a real gray area. What is transformative? We talk about this on YouTube all the time when it comes to reaction content or other types of copyright infringement. It's just like, what exactly is the degree to which you have to change something before it no longer resembles the original idea it was inspired from? You can't just take Pikachu and make it blue and be like, this is Pika Blue, and it's an original idea, and I'm gonna sell millions of copies of this thing. Yes, obviously you cannot do that. At what point can you take a bunch of characteristics from one existing design and plop it into some Frankenstein conglomeration of design characteristics and call it a new thing? It's really, really difficult. And that's why you shouldn't immediately go on a bandwagon of saying, oh my god, this game was made with AI and they stole Pokemon design. Like, no, it wasn't. There's no indicator for the fact that this was made with AI. They developed this with a dev team for 3 years, and the head of the company, who's an avid fan of AI, by the way, in interviews regarding the development of this game, and at that point in time, by the way, he didn't know this was going to be such a big game. He didn't know this was going to blow up. They spent like $7 million developing this game. It's not a big game. So he has no incentive to build lies in interviews to cover his ass early on because a giant mob is going to come after him about copyright. In these interviews, he talks about the development process of these games, and this guy who loves AI so much, not once does he mention AI being used to make the game or to make the designs of the characters. And, well, of course we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. At the end of the day, they could have used AI prompts for certain designs and then just copied sketches off of those designs. But we don't know that. We have zero proof. And this is the exact problem I have with modern toxic Pokemon fans. They just go on Twitter, they lie about this game being made with AI, they lie about asset rips. Like, there's been people who later admitted to the fact that they purposefully changed Palworld polygon designs to make them look more similar to Pokemon designs. I've looked at all the designs. A lot of them are fine, and a lot of them cannot ever be a case for a lawsuit, not even remotely. I've seen like 3 or 4, a handful of designs where I'm just like, oh my god, they just took a bunch of Pokemon and took some characteristics from them and then jumbled them together in a new Pokemon. I don't know why they included these in the game. These could be dangerous, and these could be things that the Pokemon company might use in the future to sue them, but I don't think they will, because at the end of the day you can still look at those designs and be like, no, they have clear characteristics of being something different. But you know, like I said, copyright law is a very, very nuanced and gray area, so who knows what you could argue for some of these designs. And yeah, some of them are, when I looked at them, it's just like, oh, it's so dumb, it's so stupid. I mean, you're just like, you're in disbelief that they put those in the game. And if you've been a Pokemon fan for a long time, of course you look at a lot of the designs as well, and you're like, yeah, that's clearly inspired by that Pokemon, that's clearly inspired by those 2 Pokemon, whatever else. But even if that's the case, that's not an infringement on any sort of copyright law, and that's what people need to understand. Yes, this game is very similar in many ways to Pokemon, but so was Temtem. And I don't know how brainwashed you have to be. I know Pokemon is a giant presence in the video game world, and we're so used to it as a pop culture phenomenon that we might all have some nostalgic feelings towards this. But you can't just go around and be like, oh no, this is not okay. This is stealing off of Pokemon. It just isn't. It isn't. You know? If you look at a couple Dragon Quest designs, right? One of the games I mentioned that has been longer established than the Pokemon Company for more than a decade, longer than them. Some of those designs don't, like, they really resemble some Pokemon designs as well. And that's really the truth about anything. Nothing's original. There's always something that is gonna be inspired by something else. And at the end of the day, you know, this is one thing I really don't understand about these Pokemon fans who are so toxic about this and who are clearly so passionate about Pokemon. If you're this passionate about Pokemon, take a step back to think about this for a moment and relax. Relax. This is a good thing that's happening here. Because Pokemon will finally have to get off their asses and make good games again. This is good for us, Pokemon fans. Because I think we can all agree that Pokemon is practically the picture-perfect definition of a monopoly when it comes to monster hunting games. And Economics 101, what are the downsides to a monopoly? Well, they have a tendency to make low-quality products and have an entire lack of incentive for innovation due to having no competition. Well, low quality products and a total lack of innovation to their concepts due to having no competition. What game franchise does that sound like? I wonder. We can circle back to the first minute of this video. Like, this video could have been a minute 30 seconds long. By just saying, has Pokemon sued Palworld? No, they haven't. Will they? Probably not. And if so, they will probably do it about like 1 or 2 designs where it's just like, oh, this is pretty dodgy. But like, as a lifelong Pokemon fan, I think this is a good thing. And I just hope this will lead to better Pokemon games down the line that I will enjoy again. And I really hope that this lights a fire under the Pokemon Company's ass, Nintendo's ass, Game Freak's ass, to make games that are where you can feel that a AAA studio, that a multi-billion-dollar corporation and the biggest media franchise on the planet, that they are behind this product, and that it doesn't look like I don't know, the horrible, I don't know, like an abomination, like the abortion of a PS2 beta title and a gacha game. It's just, what is Pokemon nowadays? Seriously, I could make a whole video about that. It's terrible. So yeah, ultimately, I'm happy that Palworld was such a huge success. I think only good can come from this, unless Pokemon stays complacent. Then it'll just deteriorate more as time progresses, which will be sad, of course. But perhaps titles like Palworld and other games can carry on the torch from that point onward. But I love Pokemon. I hope this will help out. I hope this will get them to finally move their fucking ass. And yeah. People on Twitter, stop lying about shit, stop spreading fake news, and stop talking about things you have no expertise on, and then claim you're the biggest expert of it because, I don't know, you've been playing a video game since 2012. Guess what? I've been playing these video games since 2001, and I've had brief touches in my academic career with these subjects, and I'm not an expert, not even remotely, and I don't want to be, because I can only reiterate, copyright law is so fucking boring. And with that, yeah, my name is Julius Briggs, and that is a made-up name. Have a nice day, take care of yourself. Don't waste your time on Twitter, it's not worth it. Don't argue with random strangers online, such a waste of time. Anyways, see ya.
Trash!